Good morning and welcome back to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kolvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. On today with Kyle Thomas, certified financial planner on the Haven investment team. And Kim, you mentioned in the last segment at the end, the classes that we teach. Yes, we are very big into education, have been for 10 years because, as you know, it is our 10-year anniversary. Actually, 10 years ago this past in July is when the doors opened. And we're going to be in our new additional space here within the next 2 weeks. And we do classes at the colleges, at the libraries, community centers. And in our new office space, we're going to have an education center, Kim, where we're going to be able to do some, my wife, the office manager, just booked our first one in the middle of September. We see that senior fraud is worse every year. And we booked the local police department, their division, to come in and do a lunch and learn for an hour and a half about, what to do, what to avoid. So that's our first one. We're excited about it. So go to our website, havenfinancialgroup.com, and you'll see all our classes from Social Security and tax to investments to, we just booked another wills and trust estate planning with Carrie and Anna and Keith, our estate planning partners. So again, we're big into education. It's how people learn, and it's how we can make, hopefully, educated decisions.
Fantastic. I love it. How exciting to have your own facility there. That is really going to be great. Kyle Thomas, certified financial planner with Haven Financial Group, is our guest today. And we're talking about inflation and how it relates to your finances and certainly to those who are planning or in retirement. We want to talk a little bit about inflation fighting strategies that you may want to consider. So, Kyle, I think one of the first things that we have to consider when it comes to inflation fighting strategies is, do I have a strategy, period? And then how will it stand up against inflation, right?
Yeah. We absolutely need to. The best thing to do is to have a strategy that's consistent and making sure that we stay in that strategy throughout market cycles and that we're not changing that strategy because of our emotional feelings. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest things that happens when people have those emotional feelings is going to cash or a cash-like investment. And, all our clients and anyone who's attended a class of ours before knows well that we try to protect from losses more than we're trying to capture gains and upside, because those losses have a bigger impact on your portfolio than gains do, right? So we're really trying to minimize those losses. And if you're in cash when inflation is higher than normal, you're actually losing money. Even though that dollar value in your bank account stays the same, you're losing money because of purchasing power. So your 20,000 or whatever amount it is that's there isn't really worth 20,000 the next year, right? It's worth maybe 19 or whatever that amount would be. So that's one thing to keep in mind right there. And then, we have many options that are good tools to fight inflation. I know we had mentioned the fixed accounts in the previous segment, but there's also Treasury inflation protected securities that we allocate to. Your return is directly correlated to what inflation's doing. So that's something that we really like to have in our portfolio at all times as well.
So what I'm hearing you say is that the first strategy you need to have is to have a portfolio, to have a strategy, and then to look at it to see if it's inflation proof. The second thing I want to ask you about is, where does Social Security fall in all of this inflation strategic talk?
Well, Social Security is that's a big topic too, especially for people coming in and doing planning with us, because when you decide to take Social Security can have a huge impact on your portfolio, and because if you start it in your first year of retirement, well, that supplements you having to withdraw from your portfolio. So if you're not taking Social Security, then you're taking everything that you need to live on, unless you have a pension. You're taking everything you need to live on from your investments. And if the market's down, again, like in 2022, I'll use, for example, stocks were down 20% or so, depending on what you're in. Well, now you're realizing those losses. So having Social Security in that year would have really helped, because now you don't have to take nearly as much out from your portfolio to live on as you would have if you didn't have Social Security. So timing that is really impactful. And one of the biggest things that we want to do is minimize the stress that you put on your withdrawals from your portfolio assets.
I think that a tax efficient portfolio is always recommended, right? But what are some of the steps that you can take as you try to protect your portfolio from inflation when it comes to tax efficient accounts?
Yeah, Kyle, if you could comment on this, because you and I, we in the team, we see it all the time where people come in and they have the wrong types of investments in the wrong types of accounts, the wrong types of investments in Roth, the wrong types of investments in IRAs, and the wrong types of investments in brokerage accounts. Tax inefficiency in the portfolio, Kyle. Touch on that and how we see that so often.
Yeah. This is a big one that we see, especially from some of the bigger firms where they just kind of put blankets of portfolios on all types of accounts. But that's not working in your favor. We customize the portfolio for each type of account. We're looking at a total household for you. Let's say, client A has 3 different accounts. It's a joint account, an IRA, and a Roth. Okay, great. They're all going to be invested differently. The IRA is going to house a lot of the income-bearing type of investments and tax inefficient investments, right? Because we want to defer that income and be in control of how much income we have. Because if you have those types of investments in that joint account, well, all the activity that happens in that account is going to be taxable. And we want to have capital gains inside of that account when we choose to have those capital gains, not when the investments that we're invested in tell us we're going to have taxes. And that Roth piece is also going to be the most aggressive, because that's typically going to be the last money that we use. So we have the longest time horizon and it's tax free. So we want it to be the highest amount possible out of the 3 accounts. So it's important to have different investments in each of those accounts, because it creates more efficiency within them, and we don't want to pay. We want to pay the least amount of tax that we have to.
Right.
So it makes sense to invest them differently.
Sure. Inflation or no inflation, we want to pay the least amount of tax that we can. And Larry, This is another reason why you guys there at Haven Financial Group have such an efficient team, because you have people who can look at your entire portfolio and address all of these different issues.
Yeah, it's we call it the retirement puzzle pieces. All the retirement puzzle pieces. Do you have all the pieces? Are they coordinated? Is your investments talking to the tax side of things, to the insurance side, to the estate planning side? All of those pieces should be coordinated. So if you're wondering, how do you do that? My encouragement would be find a retirement financial advisory firm or partner, I like to use better, who's just as dedicated to your unique goals and situations as they are intelligent and aware of financial happenings, what's going on, best practices. There is no one size fits all. Yes, there's commonalities between different things that we see, but it's not the same for everybody. So are they catering to your needs, or do they have their best interests in mind rather than your best interests? Do they have strategies? Are they talking taxes? I can tell you, I get this all the time. We ask our guy or gal about Social Security and we never get any answers. Well, they probably don't know the answers, because if they're working with younger people, they're not talking about Social Security. We are talking Social Security in every conversation, because it's a big part of retirement. So that is the attention you should be getting. Those are the conversations you should be having. It is part of our Haven proprietary process, and it's what we provide at Haven Financial Group.
And, I have to say, Larry, the way that people can mold and put together a one size does not fit all plan is by knowing the partner that you are dealing with. And I think in a lot of these situations, people go in, they see them once a year and they're out and they don't know one another. I know you guys talk about the fact that you know people's kids and their grandkids, and, you get together socially. I mean, this really is a situation where you put together plans that meet the needs of individual people who come and see you, individual clients?
Kim, it's intentional. It's intentional. 10 years ago, it started. We've come a long way. We have multiple personalities in all these different retirement areas. And it is our goal. It's not by accident. Yes, we take these topics all very seriously. We like to have fun with them. And what do I mean by that? We have a client events 3 or 4 times a year. If our next event is at Charlie's on Prior Lake, if that sounds like fun, maybe you should come out and kick the tires and see what we're all about, and see if we actually practice what we preach, which we do.
Yes. 612-504-8400. Give Haven Financial Group a call. Tell them that you heard us here on the radio, or you can visit them at havenfinancialgroup.com. When we come back, let's talk about avoiding key mistakes when adjusting for inflation, right here on the Haven Financial Group radio show.